Hello, Fightful Faithful. It's a Tuesday. I'm here with the lady and the Irish fella, and we're going to talk about developmental stuff.
We're going to talk about the NXT show that just aired because this is the NXT post show for May 7th. My birthday is in a week from today, you guys. What are you all going to get me?
Hopefully a better episode of NXT than this.
That would be a nice start. That would be a new envelope.
A new envelope. Yeah.
A new envelope. Ooh.
Let's hope put a bunch of money in it and I'll be very happy. But
that'd be
nice. You have money. We ask you to send in your super chats and your humper chats if you want to get your question or statement read on air. Humper chats, we get to keep just like a little bit more of the pie. We get to take home a little bit more. So we do always appreciate when you guys use humperchats.com. We also invite you to leave a thumbs up on this video. It helps people find us in the algorithm. And we want this wacky little show to disrupt people in the algorithm. Believe you me. And we also will ask you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. 15,100 subscribers over at Fightful Select. The most credible news in the biz, if you ask me, but what can I say? I'm here with Corey Brennan. We've got a lot to talk about in NXT world. A lot has happened over the course of the past week, so Corey's going to contextualize some of the scoops that we had today and over the course of the past week, and then we will dive into our review show. If you want to get your puns in, it seems like there's a runaway, just like, is it general sports theme?
Athletics.
Yeah. Athletics. So we invite you...
As generic as it is, can you run fast and lift much? You can be a wrestler.
I mean, in their defense, to call it a combine, that's basically what the NFL combine is too. But we do invite you to get in your super chats with those silly little puns. We appreciate it. But we've got Corey here. We've got a lot to talk about dating back to last week into this week. Unfortunately, there were some cuts that took place on Friday afternoon. They were mostly NIL talent that we haven't seen debut yet, but there were a couple others that we are a little bit more familiar with, and anybody losing their job sucks. We fully believe that here at Fightful, whether it was your dream job your whole life or something that you were committing to more recently, like you made a commitment to do professional wrestling, and that is one of the most painful and unnatural things you can do. It's a wildly complex thing to wrap your head around. And requires an incredible amount of commitment. So we always just feel terrible on days like that. They're not fun days for us. They're worse days for the people that lost their jobs. But Boa also in that mix. Trey Bearhill, I think, was the one that kind of stood out as being a shock to us as well.
Yeah.
And about another 9 or 10 names that were thrown in there. So Corey, I'll let you kind of take the lead as far as any additional context that you wanted to add. Most of them were not people that we'd seen on NXT television, but not a fun day. Not fun
in the slightest. It's always, like you said, it's always sad when people lose their jobs, especially people who are just kind of getting into the wrestling business. For a lot of them, like, I think people sugarcoat that fact a lot, that it is talent who are just starting to enjoy and learn wrestling. So yeah, they may not be progressing as fast for some of them, but it is still a dream for them. You mentioned Trey. Trey was a big one for a lot of reasons. There was this idea that kind of gained traction on social media that his release was related to the fact that they have Eddie Thorpe, who's also Native American. And when I brought that up, it was dismissed immediately. So that wasn't a factor into that release. For Trey, I'm still trying to figure out or get a reason as to why he was cut, because the talent that I spoke to in NXT and otherwise that are just surprised more than anything, because even from higher ups he was receiving praise. So it's a release that confused a lot of people just for the simple fact that he was impressing. Valentina for us and Boa, a lot of people that I spoke to were kind of very upset, but it's mainly for Boa because they both suffered with injuries quite a bit in recent months. And for both of them, it's been felt that they didn't really get a fair shot because of that. A
Sure.
consistent string of appearances where they could kind of make their name. So again, a bit of uneasiness about those releases as well. Just to clarify something on the next gen side of things, there was a couple of talent from the next gen show released. They weren't just signed to their contracts when the show ended. When the show was aired, they were signed when the show was taped. That was a while back. So they have been working in the performance center. They have been doing the occasional live event. So it's not a case of they were signed and then WWE decided 2 weeks later, oh, you're not good enough, gone. They've had their time to try and show themselves. While we're still on the topic of releases, Gable Steveson, I've looked into that quite a bit since his release. Obviously, there is that dark cloud hanging over him of allegations and legal problems. That was said not to be a factor in his release. It was just a simple fact of, much like the NIL, well, he is an NIL talent at the end of the day. He wasn't showing the progression needed. And it was pointed, and one source actually pointed out to me, Damon Kemp's, his brother, improvements, his progression, how he's quickly become a very important member of No Quarter Catch Crew. So that was pointed out to me, and just that was a very big talking point for a lot of people with Gable's release, was that just look at what Kemp is doing, his brother is doing. With regard to the other releases, it was a case of, for a lot of them, it was similar to recent releases of they just weren't progressing at the level that WWE wanted, and there isn't a set time constraint to progress. It's just a matter of they want to see a consistent improvement. I said this on Twitter a little while ago. From everything that I've learned, is when it comes to performance center talent, before they make that jump to the NXT live event, they just want to see progression and learning and just getting the fundamentals down. And if they don't get those down, then yeah, unfortunately they do cut them. It's never nice. Emma Diaz is already booked for Reality Wrestling, as Ashok mentioned, so that's nice. And just while we're on this topic, when I was working on these, I was told the same as Sean mentioned on Monday, that Gulak was lumped in with the rest of these talents. When I did ask people, when I asked talent, they did say that they had been told by higher ups, when asked, that Gulak had been released, he was no longer with the company. That did not obviously turn out to be the case, but we will talk about that, I assume, more in a little bit. But there was, again, much like the last bunch of releases with Jinder and so on, tonight there was a bit of a somber atmosphere at the tapings tonight. While they did have one or two debuts on Level Up, I believe, tonight, there was still that kind of somber nature, because at the end of the day, like you said, no one wants to see people lose their jobs, especially when they work with them. Like, people don't understand how tightly knit of a group NXT is. These are all these young adults trying to achieve the dream. They're working the performance center. The way they work is they train. They have classes. It's no different to any other wrestling school. It's classes. It's different days. They work with different coaches on different days, but they usually are within the same groups. It's a group-based system. So you'd be working with the same person for a week straight, and then it'll go on, and then you'll be working with another person for a week straight. So they all get to know each other in different experience levels. Like, it's not a case of these talent don't mix it up with the talent that are at the top of NXT. They definitely do. They definitely do get the chance to work with them and learn from them. But again, just unfortunately, sometimes they don't progress it the way WWE want them to do. I hope that a lot of them do find on their feet. I know that there was a lot of concern from the people I spoke to about Boa in particular. Boa has a very young family, and he does want to live in the States. He loves living in the States, from what I'm told. So hopefully he can sort that out, because obviously we want just the best for these talents in the future.
Sure, and I try not to be too like poly-positivity with stuff, and obviously a different situation at the NIL level, but you do see people that find their way post-release, right? People that have families, people that have had to get their visas in place. So even if it's not a jump to AEW, hopefully they can find their way for whatever is in their next chapter, for sure. But You did mention Drew Gulak. I don't want to get too into it because, quite frankly, you can go to FightfulSelect.com and see everything that you need to know. Drew Gulak's exiting the company, right? That much is clear. He was not released. His contract is running out. He is not leaving on good terms, so I don't know why you would clarify that that you didn't fire him based on these circumstances. He was intentionally injuring talent. That was something that you had heard but couldn't get on the record, and you can correct me if I'm wrong with any of this. And nobody wanted to go on the record about it because some of it came from young, intimidated talent. I had heard from someone a year and a half ago, not specifics of this, but someone who was formerly at NXT, and they told me that he is a quote-unquote weird cat and that he would absolutely be a head trainer if his personality wasn't a quote-unquote astronomical issue. And I remember that very vividly because this person was very jovial in the way we would talk. And when his name came up, it snapped. And then when our report came out, I also got a message from a talent formerly of NXT in a voice memo form that just said, yep, with no context. So after it was reported he was leaving the company, it seemed like a lot more people came forward to verify such a thing. And of all the things that a veteran talent can be doing, that is in like a top 5 list of terrible things that you can be doing to younger talent. So never like anybody losing their jobs, but this one certainly feels justified. The terms he was exiting on, whether it was a release or contract ending, kind of seem neither here nor there when the greater issue is that you had also reported that there were situations where Shawn Michaels was screaming at this guy in Gorilla, right? So this was a known problem. It was a pattern of behavior. I guess it all came to a head finally. Any other context that you want to add? That a very full report on FightfulSelect.com on the free tier, I believe, for that as well.
I'm not going to really talk about what's already in the report. So if people do want to find out what's in the report, Kate summed it up pretty perfectly just now. But I do want to be clear on one thing. I don't know to the extent that WWE officials were aware of this at this time. I don't want to speculate on it. All I know is that when and I will say this as well, there's people did find the clip pretty fast, and I gotta give it to the people on the internet. I tried to keep it as vague as possible for the sake of just the sources that I spoke to, but it was a really bad spot with Dante Chen on Level Up, and I've seen some defenses of it. I really don't think you can defend it. There's no reason for him to spike someone on that move, in my opinion, anyway. But at the end of the day, Sean was aware enough of it that he knew that it wasn't intentional. That's what I do know. In that verbal reprimand that he did give Gulak, he did accuse him of doing it, and Gulak didn't deny it. That's what I know. That's what I've been told about that incident. That's all I can say on that. Since the report went up, I've also had more NXT talent coming to me just telling me about instances where in the performance center or during a match or a live event where they've just something's been off when they've been in the ring with Gulak. They haven't been really, just something happened, whether it was a chop that was too high or too low, or a wrist lock that was too painful, or a joint manipulation or finger manipulation or anything. Like I said in the report, I was told by one talent in particular that they'd suffered a recently dislocated finger, and he decided that he was going to test them by re-dislocating. And I find that kind of stuff to be very worrying and very concerning. But this isn't something that Gulak picked up in WWE. This is something that goes back as far as 2011. I spoke to an independent talent that worked with Gulak in 2011 on an independent show. They showed me the match itself and showed me and pointed out the instances where Gulak was targeting an injured shoulder when he was chopping the shoulder intentionally. And it's just a very horrible situation. I know as well that he did want to be a coach in the Performance Center. That was something that he lobbied for repeatedly. He wanted to be a trainer full time, but Sean turned him down for whatever reason. They're like, no one can tell me why Sean kept turning him down. they guess that this is it, but no one can tell me for sure why. So I'm not going to speculate and say that Sean knew, Sean didn't know. I'm just going to report the facts. That's what I'm always going to do, and that's what I've done with this Gulak situation. A lot of people.
Additionally, you had reported too that he was pulled from Hall of Fame and other appearances. He was pulled from the No Quarter Catch Crew Creative as well as that signature. So it did certainly seem like something flipped a switch there. So we feel so bad for the talent that got released and have to move on to new chapters, but that one certainly seems like it makes a lot of sense in retrospect. And then the only other thing to talk about here, Corey, I think, is you wanted to give some updates on the Austin Romero situation. We've had some changes as far as the ring announcing crew. Samantha Urban, obviously, absolutely crushing it. Alicia Taylor getting called up from NXT to the main roster, but was announcing tonight, though Austin was backstage, it sounds like. So anything that you want to contextualize there?
I just want to be clear on this. Like this is on me. I should have been more thorough with this, and I probably should have been more careful with this, especially with something like changing ring announcers. It's something that could happen at any time, but it appeared like it was going to be the case today from people in Rome's camp, from people in the back, from talent, from production. It was pretty clear earlier today about when people were starting to report to the performance center for the show that Rome was going to be on the call tonight. But that changed about 30 minutes before rehearsal started. So about 3 p.m. EST roughly, that changed. And Alicia was at the performance center. She was doing rehearsals. But even when Alicia was doing rehearsals, there was confusion amongst the people that I spoke to. It wasn't completely clear if Rome was going to be doing any work. We did find out throughout tonight that Rome was not going to be on the call. Alicia was going to be on the call for the night. The people that I spoke to speculated. Now, this is speculation from people who are in the know that it was Alicia's kind of her last kind of swan song in NXT, like the way that the wrestlers have gotten to do. I haven't heard if that's the case. I haven't heard if she got goodbye backstage. But I do want to clarify that I shouldn't have reported it as it was definitely going to happen when I did. I want to take full responsibility for that. I will say that Rome is definitely still going to be coming to NXT as ring announcer. Alicia is still scheduled to go to SmackDown. That was the talk today. I learned that at the weekend, but I just wanted to contextualize it and just let you guys know how everything kind of came to be today. I did have updates on Twitter. We did update the story as the day went on, but I'm sorry. Really, at the end of the day, I hold myself to better standards than that, and I will be in the future.
Things definitely change on a dime in this business, so makes sense. Card subject to change, that definitely includes ring announcers as well, especially as they're finalizing these rosters. But Corey, we're going to kick you out of here and start talking about NXT, but anything else that you wanted to make note of tonight?
So just fun little thing as usual. Not really a fun little thing actually, but I wanted to say Gabby Tuft was backstage at the show tonight. Not sure if she was just visiting or if she was there talking about business. I don't know. But she definitely was backstage. She was in the crowd also during the show. I personally would like to see her sign with NXT. I think that would be really awesome to have a openly trans wrestler in WWE, especially in NXT right now. Also, the internal show title was Thriller in Manila. There won't be a producer list on FIFA Select, guys. Again, this week there hasn't been producers listed. There might be one or two that I can find out before tomorrow, but there's no producers listed for the show. But yeah, there's not really anything else for me to talk about right this second.
It was kind of a letdown what was in the envelope, but
I know. It was exposition. So technically the source that told me that wasn't lying. So
you know what? I asked you to find out what it was. You didn't. So we're going to kick you out of here for that. But we thank you, Corey, for coming on for some clarity and for recapping a big week with some up and down news for sure for the NXT brand. Hate to see people lose their jobs. Hate even more to hear about, not even more. We just hate in general to hear about people being intentionally injured as well. That is no fun. So we will catch you next week. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com for Corey's Scoop Star that we get every Tuesday. And of course, all of the latest great breaking news across NXT and every other brand. Corey, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem, guys. Deuces.
Bye, Corey.
Can you believe that guy didn't tell us what was in the envelope?
Well, how could he possibly have known?
What a coward.
How could
Because he's
anyone have known?
NXT Anonymous.
But like, nobody knew. Like that is the last option that you come up with, and you can't think of anything good. Is what they did today. So,
Alex, I expect Corey to know. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
He would have to be
not a coward.
Psychic, and also only use the psychic powers 5 minutes before the segment, because that's when they came up with this stuff.
He should be both of those things.
He should be both of those things. We have a couple of things about the Gulak stuff. Jambeard saying that Gulak sounds a lot like Bill DeMott. They fired him for such things, so I would assume they look down upon that kind of stuff.
You'd hope
the
so.
Dockhausen, Chris Mueller says, I spent 7 years as a martial arts instructor. The idea that someone would hurt anyone on purpose in a performance or training session makes me sick. The funny thing, well, not funny, darkly ironic thing about it is that in the WWE 2K24, there's a tutorial that you can play through that teaches you all the buttons and what to do. And the guy who leads you through that is Coach Drew Gulak. He's got a little whistle and a hat and a clipboard, and he tells you how to throw a strike and how to do moves without hurting your opponent, kind of a thing. You know, it's kind of darkly ironic. I feel like it's far too late for them to release an update that has him not be that person. But that sucks. Bad.
It's not great.
He was also the coach in 2K22. They had Xavier Woods last year, but now they're back to being Gulak this year. Don't think Gulak will be the coach of 2K24.
Gonna say no.
Yeah. So there you go. We got a few things just for our little openers from the SGS. Meat Norma says, I was distracted all night. There was a recurring ad for Impossible Meat during the show. Kate, please explain meat made from plants. I thought my meat ate the plants. I got a pretzel in my head.
So it's imitation meat that comes from soybeans. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the protein that's in animals comes from the plants they eat. So you can just eat the plants that they eat. That's what I did. You just cut out the middleman a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
But it's called Impossible Meat because it's not possible that it can be meat.
Yeah, no, it's well. I also remember what was Beyond Meat.
Well, they're two separate things.
I mean, maybe it was from the Great Beyond Meat.
You think Dusty is a vegan?
Like we already
Dusty
figured this out.
Rhodes is a vegan is the funniest thing in the world.
He reported that they're mostly vegan up in.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Because they don't have livestock up there. So,
but they are on a cruise ship, which makes me wonder how they keep all that fresh. But I guess when you're in the Great Beyond, anything's possible.
It's the Great Beyond. Anything is possible in the Great Beyond. Your father says, "Is it Happy Tuesday or does everything suck?" The second one, Paul. We should ask the team, the sisters, the super mod, the entire SGS, or the chairman of the board, J.W. Pringle. You can just ask me. I said it sucks. And Cam Watson says, "Good morning, SGS." This is a reference to a thing we talked about a while ago. As someone who was born and raised in Seattle during the grunge era, I can promise you that STP is grunge. They were adapted almost immediately. And then says, can't wait for an SGS Patreon to drop. So that's the third person who has said we should have our own separate Patreon that they would pay for. So I don't know. We'll see. And Jambeard says, this week I learned vegetables don't exist.
There's a lot of things in my fridge that have some explaining to do then. But
yeah.
Are they Mirage vegetables?
I don't know. Not sure. So, yes, puns tonight are athletics puns because they decided to have people exercise for the right to fight for the right to party. No, not to party. Sorry, to be in a ladder match.
It's a little like It doesn't
How
really
good
fit
are-
in song when you
how
when
good-
it's a
who-
ladder
how-
match.
How good are you at exercising? Because if you are the best at exercising, you should be a fighter.
Well, I mean, yes, that is dumb, but like also the NFL Combine is dumb. It's not a great predictor of things. It's
Well,
supposed
no,
to identify
I-
your agility in these certain ways, and it is
Sure.
also largely a useless thing.
Right. If football was scripted, the combine would matter a lot less.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because also we're going to talk about the results of the combine. They could just be lying. Matter of fact, there's a 100% chance they're lying about the results of the combine. I guarantee you, there are some women in the performance center who we've never seen on TV who dust some of the women who were in the top 12 because they are recent top college athletes as opposed to people who have been doing wrestling stuff recently, which is different than exercising on purpose.
Well, I also just have a hard time believing out of the crop that Lash Legend didn't blow all of them away. Right? Like
we will talk
in
all about
every
that and how
category.
none of this makes any friggin' sense, and I'm gonna blow a gasket at the fact that Ivy Nile is involved in it. But like we'll talk more. Wes Lee had a video package about how great he was as the champion. I forgot that he won it in a ladder match in October of 2022. That was a while ago, but he lost it, and then went away for like 5 months. He lost it to Dominic, and went away for like 5 months, and then came back in December, and then immediately got hurt again. So like he had a lot of title defenses, and they were good title defenses. But the idea that
multi-man defenses often
the undisputed greatest North American champion of all time just feels like you're putting something on that guy he doesn't deserve or even need. Like, he was a great NXT North American champion. The idea that we're just supposed to like all accept it because you guys yell it at me every time you show footage of him feels like he had some really good matches, but he also lost to the worst North American champion of all time in Dominic Mysterio. So that drastically downgrades him.
Johnny Gargano exists, right? So
Johnny Gargano is a 3-time North American champion. Like there was Ricochet was a North American champion.
That's right.
Like,
yeah.
Like I don't know, man. It's weird that like we're just saying this. We're saying stuff. It's cool that he's back. It's a weird thing that everything has to be the. Remember a few years ago during the pandemic where they just straight up had somebody say, "This is going to be the greatest wrestling match in history."
It was
the greatest wrestling match ever, and they like promoted the match as such before it ever happened. That is the same impulse as this. To just say this person is without like, you could say he had the most title defenses. Fine. Weird.
I think most people are normal and not like us, so they probably were just like, "Oh, that probably means he's really great." But we're us, so we can't accept that. And I will say, learning about what his actual injury was is nuts.
Yeah,
like he had
they showed that.
Yeah, ruptured
discs.
3 of them that were leaning on 2 different nerves, and he couldn't stand.
Yeah, he couldn't. Yeah, he had complete numbness from the waist down. That's scary shit.
That's really scary.
It's man, considering how long this company kept other talents out of the ring because they refused to clear them medically. The fact that this guy basically had no feeling in his legs, even though he could still walk, and was like, "We're gonna put you up for surgery. You're gonna get some surgery on these things." And then he's like, "Cool. I'll probably be out for a year. Just kidding. I'll be back in 5 months." And you're like, "Yeah, go ahead. Go out there and take a lot of bumps directly on your back." This is a different era because there's no way 15 years ago they let this guy back in the ring this fast.
I just don't know. I just have no idea what that looks like. Like 3 ruptured discs sounds awful.
Right.
And they were like leaning on 2 of his nerves, he said, which is nuts. And I appreciate it in the video package.
Oh my God, he's back.
Hey guys, it's me.
Hi,
I
Sean.
took a little bit of time off, and when I take time off, I make up for it. So here I am, a rare appearance on the NXT post show. When I'm back, I'm back, and I've got some details on tonight's NXT. The show happened tonight.
It did happen tonight. That's what we had heard, but I wasn't positive.
We saw it happen. Yeah.
I didn't, but it did happen tonight.
Okay.
That was a thing that happened.
Do you know when? Like I had heard 8 o'clock Eastern.
Well, it was between 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, but there were people that were there at the venue before the show started, like to get into their seats and stuff. Okay. And they did NXT Level Up, so
interesting. Okay. They were just like admitted into the building before the show started.
Yeah, I believe some of them got bussed there, actually. That's a thing that usually happens.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
And what are sorry, what is bussing?
So, bussing makes you feel good.
Oh.
Is what I've heard.
So there are ghosts. Or is anybody afraid of any ghosts? Or is people afraid of no ghosts?
No, and honestly, listen, we're well past the NXT 2.0 era, because that honestly, there's probably like a ghost gimmick that was pitched during that period. I can't say that definitively.
5,000-year-old dragon lady verges close to ghost.
You know what?
For me,
not. Although
we can ask Dusty later.
Let me clarify. The person that was in a stable with 5,000-year-old ghost lady, not released. Instead, what happened was, after 7 years with the company, he just was cool with his contract not being renewed. That was the thing. So, contract not renewed, not released. Even though he definitely wanted to be there, they had renewed his contract like 5 or 6 times, and
well, there we go.
Well, that does sound very credible. So.
It sure does. My goodness.
Man, sounds pretty incredible to me.
It sure does, Sean.
I mean, actually, no, it doesn't. I feel really terrible for Boa. I mean, he seems like a very nice guy.
No, he seems like a good dude.
That's awesome.
Seems like a very nice fella. I feel bad for him. One thing I did want to mention, I don't watch NXT as it happens. I usually binge watch it. We've got Corey for the scoops on that, but I did watch last week's the Underground match, because you guys know that's my shit right there. I love that type of stuff. And when I saw that Natty was being put in that type of match, I was like, hell yeah. I mean, the Dungeon style and the Billy Robinson style, very similar in that regard. If you've ever seen the Dungeon, you knew that Natty was going to be able to do well in that situation. And it's so funny, because I remember one time I asked about certain talent coming in, and it's like, you know what? Maybe they work stiff, and they're like, not if they get in the ring with Lola Vice, they won't. And I love that, because she could handle herself. But I really did like that match last week, and wanted to shout it out.
Her match with Io was great yesterday too. I really have liked the last 2 Natty matches that we've seen as much as anything else in her career.
Seems like she's proven points right now, and it makes me very, very happy. But as far as tonight's show, I can confirm it did happen. It is over now.
It's finished now.
Yeah, it's over.
Wow, big if
ended
true.
Before you guys went on the air, actually.
That is
like by 10 minutes or so. That was just like the vibe I got.
Listen, if it were 10 minutes, that would be a miracle. If it only took you guys 10 minutes to get on the air.
It was about an hour ago, as far as my sources have told me, that it's about an hour ago the show went off the air. So
you know what? Sincerely, what's weird to me, NXT gets the overrun and like Raw doesn't.
It
like
is odd.
8 minute overrun.
Right. It's because I think the kids don't know how to hit their times yet. So they didn't want to like mess everything up, so they give them an extra 8 minutes in case, they go long.
My God. Well, anyway, I'm just saying, I got all the scoops. Corey Brennan can go to hell.
Mm.
Well, he's in Ireland, so it's already there.
Yeah.
But I'm the man. Ain't nobody ever taken my spot.
Mm-hmm.
Eat that one.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Well,
he's
you
gone
heard it
now.
here first, guys. That show happened,
Mm-hmm.
and it ended,
Right.
and busting makes you feel good. So I learned a lot today. I hope you guys did too.
In our
What the hell?
he does.
We have to review the show at some point.
He does-
We're
he does
35
his-
minutes in.
No.
He does his thing.
No,
I
this
can't
is
stop
my
him.
shit. This is my.
He's not here anymore.
I don't care. I can add myself back here. I will do this all fucking night.
I will
Listen,
kick you out of the studio.
Sean can fire me. You can't.
Go fight with Sean. We didn't tell him to come on here. We
I
definitely
tried.
did not invite him on here.
Oh yeah, I was invited. He wasn't. So technically
That's true.
speaking,
He can
I just
he
work
can
here,
do
man.
whatever.
I
Yeah.
just work here.
He just does whatever he wants. Yep.
this is ridiculous. It's the one thing I have. The one thing I have a FIFA.
I don't know. Don't be a coward. Go fight Sean instead of coming on the show. I don't know what to say. We didn't invite Sean on here.
I mean, he's back now, so.
Hey, why didn't you all tell me you were inviting the lead singer of the Cranberries?
Oh, screw you, Sean.
Sean, we're going over 2 hours because it is 36 minutes in and we have not started the review. Just
Well, whose problem is that?
You guys
4
fight it
a.m.
out.
and you guys
We've
are keeping
got
me
fun.
awake.
We've
So
got songs to sing. We've got a show to review. You guys want to
So
do
here-
who's covering NXT? By all means.
Listen, you guys are about 33 minutes into this review, or as Corey would say, 33 minutes.
oh, fuck off.
I'll see you guys later.
It's bad enough everyone from Britain.
I can't handle Sean and the UK guy at once. It's too much. I'm just trying to do my job here. Alex, can we talk? I was like, this was not a very strong episode. I don't know if I want to talk about. I am so anxious just to talk about the show at this point. That happened. It did happen, and it is over. And Boston makes you feel good.
Hold on. Rails? What rails? We don't need no stinking rails on this show. We left the rails far behind.
I don't
Wes
think we
Lee-
were on the rails. I think
No,
the
but,
train
like,
was
yeah,
rails
I was-
adjacent.
Listen, we were talking about Wes Lee's back injury, and then he gets into the ring to face a much larger man who targets it. Does a lot of like splashes to his back and a lot of back breakers. They're like, hey, you know what? Let's find out how good your back is, kid. Like, this is what it just felt like. You know, it was the thing. Like, you gotta, like, you try it. You see, all right, I'm gonna take all these bumps directly onto your knee. That'll be fun. Hey, can my finish now no longer be a somersault kick? Can it be a spinal tap? Spiral tap where I land, where I do twisties and then with my back on your chest. Could that be it? This was fun. It was before the commercial break. Ivar came out, and was standing there on the bottom of the ramp, and then at the end of the commercial, I left during the commercial. I was in another room, couldn't see the TV. Came back. And there was a third person on commentary. And I was like, who is this? And for some reason, because the voice was what the voice was, I could not picture it as Ivar. Because when Ivar cuts promos, he's like, the gods of Asgard will come down and tear your eyes out, and the Raven will, like, all that stuff. When he cuts a promo, he's that. And so apparently Ivar, just on commentary, is just the nicest fella.
Yeah.
You know what I
Sean
mean?
interviewed him
it
too, and he just had this very like disarming disposition about him. I was like, he seems so sweet.
Yeah.
I will say, also in the Wes Lee vignette, what I really appreciated was him being like, I should have heeded warning from other people. It kind of made it sound like it was something that persisted, which was good. Kind of like to, it was just nice context and spoke to his character, I think, a little bit.
Right.
I thought he looked really good in this match, considering it was his first match back and he was being so heavily targeted.
It was
very impressed by his speed that did not lose a step in this.
When I realized that the voice I could not place did belong, in fact, to Ivar, I was like, oh, so Josh Briggs is going to run into Ivar at some point, and that'll lead to the finish of the match. And oh, whoopsie daisy, they've got 3 total plays in the playbook.
Yeah.
And like it's just one of those things where I wish you wouldn't do. Every time somebody's sitting at commentary, we got to do like, oh no, you ran into me on accident, but I took it personally. Let's fight about it. I'm thankful they actually just let the match end.
Yes.
Then had the brawl. But what I don't understand is why Wes Lee had to involve himself at all. Literally, this is not your problem. You beat Josh Briggs. Let him and Ivar fight about it if they want to. You just basically should have, in your mind, secured a match against Obafemi. You don't need to like do a front flip and land all with your back across the very angular shoulders of Josh Briggs. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Self-preservation, kid.
But if I was able to do it, I would probably just do that to people all the time.
Oh yeah.
But Alex, then what happened?
And then Obafemi was apparently, I don't know how long he was up there for, but they never showed him until this moment where he's up there and he's just cackling. Obafemi watching what he's in a like it was almost like if you like
it had a sheen. It was like a
violet and magenta, and you mixed those colors together, and you had like this sheen on a dress shirt, and you had it like 3 or 4 buttons down, and like a shark tooth or crocodile tooth necklace, and you have just like that's basically what I'm assuming what his laugh sounds like. It was good. It was a good moment.
He's the coolest person that ever existed. Alex.
I don't understand why he's not like doing more on every show. Like just having him stand around and watch is not enough. You know what I mean?
Yes, but also like there is kind of a mystique about him, and there is such an aura, as the kids say.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would prefer them be measured than have like too much of it. Like he is a special talent.
Oh, very special.
And it does kind of feel like we said when somebody behind the paywall did math for us, God bless them.
Mm-hmm.
We did the math that 80% of Gunther's time in WWE has been title reigned. He should be built that way. And this kind of feels in line with that, to be honest.
Right.
Like getting these like little pieces of him and him being a heel, but really like just someone that wants to kick everybody's butt. But the shirt, the necklace, the disposition, all of it. I was just like, this is the coolest person who's ever walked the face of the planet. Like this guy absolutely rules. Keep not screwing him up. Like a lot of the show was not very good tonight. This is the thing you're not allowed to screw up. This is the one thing you can't screw up, and they haven't done it so far. So it just made me so happy that he pops off the screen with everything he does, considering how new he is at this, and the sky's the limit for this dude, because he's even making statements in little small things like that.
So Jambeard, a little early, I think, with the segue. If you want to test someone's back, Blue Chew is for you, Code Fight.
If I didn't already have one in the chamber for later.
You already got one. So Team Bouncy Beef and Team Hank and Tank are hanging out. And
see Hank and Tank back around.
Yeah, honestly, that's
off TV for a bit.
I honestly felt like Tank had a lot of potential as like a fun big dude singles wrestler before they even teamed him with Hank. And now I feel like that's a very underutilized tag team. They should be doing more. But I think that there's a lot of the kids say Riz with Mr. Tank, and I think they should use him more. But anyway, they're just yucking it up with Team Bouncy Beef and Team Tai Tai, and in walks the North Dakota Catch Crew. Again, my table now has things on it, so I can't just pick it up. Everything would fall off. But like, I need to get a new table.
Alex,
are
you committed to the show or not?
No, I'm not. That's the thing. Okay. So if I had
We
my
got
table,
people coming on
I
here
would
with
wear
hot
it.
scoops like the
I would
show
wear it.
happened.
I would
and you're
wear
just-
my table on my shoulder, or actually no, because he doesn't do that anymore. He cradles it like Charlie Dempsey cradles
Yes, he does.
his little mini table. And he's like, you guys lost, and he's like, there's no shame in losing to the Good Brothers. They're veterans. And I was like, this is what they're telling you in the back. There is shame in a 4-minute loss in your debut. I don't care who it's against. You need to fight for yourselves, kids. But it's okay because they're going to get their win back tonight because we decided they're going to challenge No Quarter Catch Crew to the thing. I was like, well, the No Quarter Catch Crew is involved in a very separate feud with somebody else who's definitely going to cost them that match. So at least Team Bouncy Beef is going to get a win, which is nice. It'll be tainted, but it'll be fine. And then the Good Brothers walk in and say mean things to the Blurry Boys, and I was like, "What? You guys were here and you were doing stuff, and then you left, and you're gonna come and waltz back in, like, you know what I mean? Like, you went out for a pack of cigarettes. We thought you were gone for good. You don't get to come back again, okay? Did you go and visit your other family across the country?
Did you go visit your
Weird,
other family?
bald dads? No, I'm sorry.
On
You don't get to do that.
SmackDown? Did you do that?
No, I don't like it.
Pick a struggle because you came here for the Wolf Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You talked a bunch of S and then you did nothing about it.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, you got to put up or shut up against the Blurry Boys.
They tried to too sweet the Blurry Boys. The Blurry Boys left, but they left. They left far too slowly. They should have ran away because the Blurry Boys. They should have had. Anytime they exit a room, you have to turn that filter on so that when they leave, it goes like that. You know.
I agree. That should follow them everywhere. I must see you actually fight because I'm not gonna boy cry wolf this with you, okay?
Right. Yeah.
I've seen you talk crap to tag team champions before and you did nothing about it.
Right.
Put up or shut up. For Luis specifically.
Right. Carmen Petrovic has a neutron where she slices stuff with a sword. Nothing actually, just the air. She's Sonya Blade. And so she has to have a sword. And it is funny because we got even people who are can't get on TV, but they're making jokes on social media. Isla Dawn being like, so if it's a no DQ match, can she just use the sword on people or? And no, she should be able to. I mean, if you're allowed to bring it down to the ring and to intimidate somebody, you should be able to stab them in the heart with it. I think everything's legal. Perfectly legal, as Corey Graves like to say. Everything's perfectly legal in this match. Are some things imperfectly legal in certain cases, or
maybe just like the legality is really flawed? Like it's legal, but it shouldn't be.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, thankfully, Shayna Baszler beats her pretty easily. And it's funny because when Shayna Baszler walks into the PC, all of a sudden she gets all of her experience points back, and she becomes level 60 again, and she's maxed out on her level. And she's like, but when she leaves, all of a sudden it just drops down, and she's got that. So this was fun to watch her because she comes on the top rope and she dodges it, gets her around the waist, drops her into the thing, and she was cinched in with that Kirifuda clutch. Like you could see all the Carmen was like, oh no, I'm purple now. I'm gonna tap out. Like there was some good stuff. But Lola just shakes her ass afterwards, and Shayna's kind of over this friendship she has with Lola Vice. It was not actually a friendship. So I'm anticipating Lola Vice versus Shayna Baszler, and that is my kryptonite because I firmly believe you need to be pushing Lola Vice like crazy. And also I believe that Shayna Baszler should never lose inside the walls of the Performance Center. So this is difficult for me. I don't know how to do this.
I believe Shayna Baszler should never lose. So you're talking to there is a universe where I get to see Shayna Baszler versus Hechicero, and I want to live in that one.
That would be a nice universe.
Wouldn't that be the best universe that ever exists?
That would be the best universe. Hey, by the way, you want to know how I know that the women's combine is bullshit?
How?
Because Lola Vice isn't ranked in the top 12.
Okay, well, yeah.
Why? Give me a kayfabe reason why she's not in there at all. Like, was she competing? Because if she wasn't competing, I don't understand why she's not competing. And if she is competing, you get to decide who it is. I don't care how slow her 40 time actually is. You just put her in the fucking thing and let Shayna Baszler screw her out of it, and then she loses her qualifying match. Like there are a bunch of women who are in this top 12 we're going to talk about in a little bit that should be in the ladder match, and you can only put 6 of them in there. So having somebody in the top 12 who has an obvious excuse, because you're going to book a whole bunch of interference and distraction finishes to cost people stuff, but you think you're protecting them. So like one of them can be Lola Vice. Otherwise, you know how to explain to me why she's not competing in the combine, and if she is competing, how she's not in the top 12.
Okay, before we get into that, my thoughts on Shayna real quick, because there were 2 things I wanted to point out. That spot on the outside where she put her arm through the thing was insane. Every wrestler should try that at least once. Yeah. That looked so nasty. And also, this is kind of difficult for me to admit because it is a Tekker move. When they do like the elbow stomp thing, there's nothing preventing someone from just putting their elbow down, is there?
No, there's not. Because if you were actually holding it in place, the hand in place with your other foot, which is what you would do to make sure they couldn't move it, and then you stomped on their elbow, you would actually break their arm. So you have to allow them to, when you stomp it, they let their shoulder give, and so there's really nothing that happens to their arm. So it is dumb, and every time I see it, the first time she did it to Dakota Kai, I thought, oh my God, Shayna Baszler broke this lady's arm. That's terrible. But every time since, I haven't fallen for it. So I've never saw it before that moment. And so it always feels like you're not actually doing that. The worst ones is when the guy puts your hand on top of the steel steps and then jumps way up, and you don't just do this while his legs are way up here. Like, I'm just going to let my hands get stepped on. Like, it never has made a lot of sense to me, but, you know.
I've seen Pete Dunne do it. I've seen ZSJ do it. I've seen a couple people in Japan do it. And it always looks so nasty. Mm-hmm. But, like, then...
Kayfabe is what holds that elbow in place, Kate. It's kayfabe.
That's fair. I accept that reasoning. But I love Shayna. I love Shayna so much. This was a bunch of fun, and... As far as Isladon's tweet about if it's a hardcore match or no DQ match, shouldn't she be able to use the sword? I feel like we went through this with Drew McIntyre.
We did.
And I believe what you said was decapitate someone or get off the pot.
Yeah, yes. Yes. Instead of shit or get off the pot, it's decapitate somebody or get off the pot.
So I'm not there yet with Carmen because it's early, and I actually feel like it looks really cool. Like, she really seems like she knows what she's doing with it, and it makes her come across like a badass. Like, I don't know why. I've just accepted it. Yeah. So I'm not there, but that was one of my favorite things you've ever said.
Thank you.
Get off the pot.
Right. There you go. So I love Luis is wonderful and gives us a list of all the things that are on the show, and sometimes he has his own little names for segments. And this one just says Kelani and Horse Girl argue, but who cares? Because Stevie Turner was back on TV and she's got bangs now.
Like,
I did not recognize that Stevie Turner was one of the people in the back. Also, she's really horning in on your gimmick because you are the person with a podcast and you do stuff on the internet and you also have bangs. So she's really now deciding that this means war.
Like, imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, right? But there's a line, and you crossed it because the line is the bangs. And I already got Denise Salcedo looking great with bangs. Like, she's already breathing down my neck with the bangs.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
she looks great. She looks great. She told me she was in fear that she would look like Dora the Explorer. No, my friends.
Right.
Denise is
Yeah.
slaying it. So I already got that to deal with. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now this. The only difference between us, the only one that I can see is the fingerless gloves from way back.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that separates us. So I'll tell you what, Stevie, if you get like a cute dog that's like a half I don't care, Australian Shepherd, whatever, I'm coming for you. If you start like just loving Yankee baseball and burritos, we're gonna have heat. Okay? Stop trying to be me, Stevie.
Okay, that's good. Stevie Turner, you have 24 hours to respond. So no, Kalani's like, but why is my friend Tiffany Fallon being this way? Because
Tiffany Fallon?
No, sorry, Fallon Henley.
Horse girl.
Horse girl. Why is my friend Horse Girl being like this? It makes me so upset, and I want someone to take her aside and be like, well, Hunter drafted our 2 top mid-card heels, and we need a new one, and no one's ever going to buy you as a heel, Kalani. Get used to doing all the stuff that you're doing because you're never going to be heel. But we just thought we'd try it out with the country girl and see how it works. And so far, we think she's killing it. So you and her are going to have several matches, including one tonight. But I just want you to know it's not that she doesn't like you anymore. It's that we decided to drastically change her character for no reason because Hunter took our top 2 mid-card heels. So
yeah.
Anyway, doing a great job, Kalani. I need Ava to come in and actually explain the actual reasons for things.
Hey. I would love it if Kalani's like, she's just like cool with it.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
I kind of actually like this for Horse Girl. And I'm not convinced she's full heel because she's not wearing black lipstick.
No, it's not yet. But listen, like she walks in and it's like, but you're my friend. Friends. All I've ever been is somebody's friend. Everything's doing everything for my friends. Well, everything's about me. And so the problem I have with it is for every scenario, they have 3 plays in the playbook. And that's the problem. So there's 3 possible things they can do when a woman turns heel. One of them is now that she dresses in all black and with black lipstick. One of them is like, she's a bad girl. And the other one is, it's all about me. And sometimes it's all 3. Like, but that's it. That's all they do. So like tonight, Roxanne Perez is walking in and she's got like this, she's wearing like a bikini top and like leather pants and sunglasses. And Vic Joseph says, there she is, our rebellious young champion. Like she's the lead in Delinquent Girl Teen Club or something. Like I don't know what in 1958 she's wearing a mini skirt. She's dating a boy from the wrong side of the tracks. He rides a motorcycle and smokes reefers. Like what are we doing calling a grown-ass woman rebellious? By the way, that is not the only time that Creative has infantilized a woman in her 20s.
Not even close.
So
oh yeah. Tonight, sure, but in general, like,
yeah,
might it remind you how Saray's last piece of her run went?
Oh my God.
I like Fallon working heel, and we could talk about it like within the confines of the match as well. It is completely unmotivated, and because it's completely unmotivated, and because it feels very sudden, of course, it has to be like, I hate my friends. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's actually probably the most reasonable creative circumstances to do that under. But the problem, to your point, is we've seen that play out so many times that I'm like, here we go again. But if you had Roxanne being like, if Roxanne was just a normal person who was just like, hell yeah, I'm the prodigy, that would feel so different, right? But she, like, to your point, speaks in heel cadence and is rebellious. Like
tonight is my night. Why is there a question mark in the middle of that sentence? I don't know. Like, that is the way they all are trained to speak. And it doesn't make, whatever. You're right. It could work for Fallon Henley. It just, and I understand the motivations of like, I've always been looking out for these 2 oafs who don't even talk to each other anymore. One guy's off TV. The other guy is going on doing his JBL inspired shtick, and I got nothing to show for it after that whole thing imploded. The problem I have with it is there was no inciting incident that made any sense.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like her shoving Thea Hale out of the way of a woman who is running to kick Thea Hale and then being upset that you instead were kicked is the dumbest reason I can think of to turn heel.
Yeah, that was weird. That was really bad and weird.
Yeah.
So I'm with you there.
Yeah.
But I really liked what came in their match. I don't remember.
Yeah.
What. Is that next? I can't remember.
No, the match was later in the night, but we can talk about it now. It was good. I mean, it's fine. It was done well. Both women are two of the top women in this brand. So it's cool that they're working together and having this thing. Kelani just can't seem to understand why Fallon is doing this, and that's part of the whole thing. And Fallon just hates everybody right now. So, I mean, it ends up with a inadvertent pulling of the turnbuckle off, and then inadvertently as well, Kelani goes into it, and then Fallon takes advantage of it, and that is her dabbling in heel work. That is a tried and true. Well, like, she's a heel, but not she's not evil yet. In a few weeks or a month, she'll take the turnbuckle off on purpose and actually smash somebody's head into it while the ref isn't looking. That's different than this, and that's their little trajectory they have her on. So,
yeah, that one's not a bad one. And there is a part of me that understands having a limited playbook for developmental talent. It's just that it's so limited. It would be nice if they switched it up. I have this complaint in AEW too. I saw do you remember? Of course you do, because it involves Chris Jericho, so it'll incite anger in you. But when Chris Jericho was on commentary and Eddie Kingston called him on the phone, all old school, like, there are certain things that I wish both brands were just a little bit more fresh about. That was just such a fun one. Like, things like that. And I know that's not heel character turn related or whatever. But I would love, they do such a good job with this women's division of like getting them a lot of screen time, and as wacky as they are, like, Horse Girl does feel different from Gigi Dolan, feels very different from Ariana, right? So, like, I appreciate that aspect of it. If they could just rein it in a little bit and diversify the motivations a little bit, rather than like these characters are so wacky, that would make me feel a lot better as someone watching it, I think.
Yeah. So this was I was going to bring this up because it was an amazing moment where Tony D placed a collect call to Vic Joseph from the jail.
Yes.
Do you accept a collect call from Tony D of the Everglades Correctional Facility? That was great.
God, those segments were so good. So that's what I would like to see. Some things I really liked in this match. Kelani Jordan, I don't believe you can be a natural at wrestling because it's unnatural to do. But if you can, if you're inclined, Kelani Jordan certainly is, because she did some very cool acrobatic stuff, and then she went to put in like a headlock on the ground, and I was like, damn, that's really, like, she's in the right position. It's really snug. Like, she's really, really, really taking to this like a duck to water. As well as mixing in some really cool athletic stuff. Like, she just somersaulted from the top rope back into the ring. And I liked Fallon working heel ring-wise in this. It feels a little more natural for her.
Yeah.
Maybe she would have felt more natural as a face if she wasn't given the weirdest stuff of all time to do. But I like her working heel. She gets the pacing aspect of being a heel very, very well. And this was nice because Kelani was fighting back a lot in this match, like a face should, but it wasn't the suffocating underdogness that we normally get. Like, she also looked like a viable competitor in there. So I actually really liked this match, and it would be cool if there was a reason Fallon Henley was a heel, but I guess she is, so we'll take it.
She is now. So that's all we can do.
And here we are.
So that happened. Going back earlier in the night, Team Tai Tai, Team Bouncy Beef.
Yes.
had their match versus the No Quarter Catch crew. And so they come out and like, which two people from the No Quarter Catch crew will be in the match? And it's Miles Bourne. It looks like it's gonna be Miles Bourne and Charlie Dempsey. Okay. And then Alicia Taylor says, we have an announcement. The scheduled referee is unavailable. And then she looks over at Luca Crucifino, who's got, I mean, they got to get, I mean, really, you have all of these big 22-year-old, like, former football players. Put those dudes in a fedoras. Why do these dudes look like janitors? Like they no muscle definition. They're 5'7.5". They've got these beards. It's very funny why those guys are the enforcers who stand behind Luca Crucifino, who dwarfs them, and he's the lawyer. Anyway, and he looks at her and is like, so the replacement referee will be Channing Stacks Lorenzo, and just runs out. And he comes out and he's wearing the thing under the referee underneath. And you have a point. My point, which you countered, was I feel like it's bad. I feel like it's bad that there are no other referees in the building. You know, like if this one didn't show up, they could find another one. But you said, well, they're afraid of getting whacked.
That's what I think.
And listen, I don't feel like he killed a referee, because if there was a referee that was going to work a match and then we just never saw them on TV again, we would know that they had been killed. I feel like it was one of those things like, hey, here you're going to referee the no quarter catch crew versus the Bouncy Beef Boys. Sure would be a shame if something happened to, your car or whatever, like intimidation tactics, or
sure,
here's $500, skip work today. You know what I mean? Like one of those things. Like whatever you get paid to referee a match, we'll triple it. You could leave now. Like, okay, cool. I'm calling in sick. But it was fun. So,
I loved it, and I do think they maybe didn't even get waxed, but like NXT referees are not getting paid that well. They're not even gonna risk it. Right. So yeah. I decided that they were all intimidated, and this is literally the only time I've ever liked a guest referee in my entire life, because I felt like it was justified.
Stacks was a really good special guest referee.
He was so good, like so good. But I'll remind you that crucifinolaw.com is a thing, and I will let you know of the pending court case of Mr. Crucifino has filed a lawsuit against NXT superstar, now main roster, Ilya Dragunov, for assault on April 15th of 2023 in Gainesville, Florida. There's photo evidence which has been released on Instagram. I don't think that's like good legal, but I appreciate that it's on the website, as well as Crucifino versus Von Wagner, who unfortunately has been released, but for assault and negligence on 3 separate occasions in NXT Superior Court.
Ooh.
So go to Crucifino Law if you want to learn more about it. But I get such a kick out of that every time. I did not see that coming. I thought it was so much fun that they did that. And then again, my thing with special guest referees is, why would somebody ever permit that? And I know it's wrestling, so don't be like, it's wrestling. Yeah, I know. But like in their world, why are you just allowing someone who's obviously biased to come in and do a job? This time, I'm convinced, and kayfabe, no other referee was going to take the risk of dealing with this very intense crime family. We all know about the interior decorator that's involved in this now. It is a widespread crime family.
Oh, very.
So I feel like this one is the most justified that I've ever seen, and I was blown away at how good Stacks was in this.
Like the match itself, it doesn't matter. It's just Stacks, screwing with everybody in No Quarter Catch crew. But at the very end, they do a roll up. Charlie Dempsey does a roll up on.
It's so good
on one of the Bouncy Beef Boys. I think it's Tyriek Igwe, and he gets down there and he makes sure the shoulders are down. His little thing where he slides the fingers underneath the shoulders to make sure those shoulders were down. Nothing has ever been more down than those shoulders.
The
The
downest.
stock market in 1929 was not more down than his shoulders in that particular moment. Okay? So I just love that he just fakes that, and then he does the longest count ever, and he kicks out before the 3, right before the 3. And so Charlie Dempsey's pissed about it, but took his eye off the ball. So he gets immediately rolled up, and it's like, boom, boom, boom. I'm done. That was a really good heel special guest refereeing. Very good.
He was so great at it, and it's the only time I've ever liked the roll up finisher really in my life.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, and the match was pretty good outside of that. But like the story that was being told here was, I think, very fun, and I feel like the no quarter catch crew, like they should be pissed that things were not done the right way, right? They're the no quarter catch crew. They're extremely serious, and they are going to play within the rules, except for when it's convenient for the most part, right? So I really liked that. I'm kind of over the idea of like, you don't know who's showing up, because I feel like if you're a bunch of top of the line professional wrestlers, you should stand on your shit. Does that make sense? Like that like they shouldn't be trying to catch people off guard with who's going out there. Like, you should be confident enough in your ability.
Like, yes, with the No, the no quarter catch, the no quarter rules or whatever, that you don't you can scout, but you'll never know which there are only 3 of us. So you'll have to scout 3 times as much tape, and you've only got 1 week to do it. And everyone knows there's not nearly enough hours in a week for you to watch tape on 3 guys. We got them. It just feels like a little bit much.
And just like if the idea is that like you think you're the best wrestlers in this wrestling program, you shouldn't have to psych people out with who's showing up. Like, so that's not for me. But you know what, Alex?
What's that?
I didn't know who was going to win this until I found out about the special guest referee situation. I had my thoughts, but then it really tipped the hand. And I just, if I was going to place bets, I wouldn't want to be off base. And I definitely, with this crime family around, I wouldn't want to, risk who my bookie is.
You don't want to do that.
You want to make sure that you're going to somewhere that's going to be safe and secure and educate you.
BetOnline.ag is the official betting partner of Fightful. 100% of the time when you get the odds from Fightful, they are coming from BetOnline.ag. And it's not just wrestling, it's not just MMA and boxing. It's football, it's basketball, baseball, hockey. They have the earliest lines. You can bet big with the high limits and rebet functionality. They have the fastest payouts with winnings paid in minutes and the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit. They've been trusted for 25 plus years. It's not some fly-by-night company. BetOnline AG has been there. They've done that. In addition, they're trusted by millions. They've got VIP rewards programs and a ton of popular games. BetOnline.ag, that's where I go to make my bets. That's where I suggest you go to, my friends. Please just bet what you can and bet responsibly.
Very good.
Plus, nobody's gonna break your bones.
No.
You know what I mean? The payments are all taken care of. But with all the money that you're winning from BetOnline AG, we encourage you to go to FightfulSelect.com and subscribe. Alex, we're behind there doing pay-per-view post shows, and there's a lot of them these days. We've got Sands of Blind next for WWE. We've got Double or Nothing coming up very soon. So if you like what you get tonight, you can see what we've got to say about other brands behind the paywall over there. You'll also get all the best scoops in the game and the Fightful Select Discord if you want a controlled, dare I say, normal environment to talk about wrestling. You can head over there. There's also an Ask SRS channel if you want to get your questions in the Discord. That's also a show that exists behind the paywall. So I think that's one of the most valuable assets that we have. And if you like Q&A stuff, We did one last week.
We did one.
Sean was out.
We did one, and if you guys like it enough, we might do it again. If
Yeah.
you're nice. You have to
If
be
you're
nice.
nice.
If you're nice
You have to be nice about it, though.
to us.
So subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. I don't care what anyone says. It's best $5 in the business. No, not defensive.
No, not defensive. So Chelsea Green and Ariana Venti are sitting in the locker room. They're chatting, and they're immediate soul sisters.
Yes.
But the problem is that Gigi Dolan is sitting in the middle of them, and her facial reactions are golden through the whole thing.
They are.
But Ariana Grace has to go get ready for her match with Michin, and Chelsea Green's got to go and meet with Rob Stone to learn how to lose matches better. And then Gigi Dolan, when she's left alone, says, oh my God, I am so done. And she walks away. And the funniest thing ever would be if that's the last time we ever saw Gigi Dolan. She was just like, I'm leaving. I'm not going back.
I am outing 5,000.
I'm literally out of here. And she just shows up on Raw in like 3 or 4 months.
That could be fun.
Why not? Because Gigi Dolan doesn't need to be doing this crap. And honestly, the fun stuff between Ariana Venti and Chelsea was fun. Chelsea feels like saying, I love it here. I've had to deal with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, and I hate them, and it's so cool. I love being here. And I'm like, so did you get drafted to SmackDown and they split up your team with Piper Niven and you're in NXT now? Because I honestly think a run in NXT with Chelsea Green and her and Ariana Grace could be a really fun duo together. Like, if we're going to do that, great. But if this is the last time we see you here, then it's weird that you're like, I love it here. I want to stay forever. Then just gone. This felt like a one-off until she started saying how much she loves it here. Then it feels like, oh, well, I guess maybe it's not a one-off.
I mean, from a developmental perspective, in a very, very character and gimmick-heavy environment, who better than Chelsea Green to teach you how to ground that in professional wrestling, right? 100%. Like, she's one of the best that they have at that specific thing. So I would be all for an NXT program for her. Yep. It is weird that, like, nobody wanted her. That's the story. I did love Ava. I always want to call her Ava Rain, but she's just Ava. I did love her being like, well, nobody wanted Chelsea, and Roxanne kind of is the worst. So it's a win-win either way. Yeah. Like, one of them is getting out of here soon. So that part of it I thought was kind of fun and well done with her. But yeah, Ariana and Chelsea would be super, super fun. Ariana's really good at this. Like, and I know we have our complaints with the way it translates to the ring and the why are you a beauty pageant contestant here? But like, from her performance aspect of it, she's made it work in the ring extremely well. Like, it's how much she understands who she is as a character in the actual wrestling part. I feel like we're seeing it really, really good every week, which is refreshing for sure.
Jambird says, for some reason, I want Ariana and Gigi to do a skit of them going to Starbucks, and Gigi does the scene from Role Models, yelling at the barista about coffee sizes.
Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages.
Okay. So Michin, thankfully,
yes,
Ariana Grace. So good. I would be very upset if they had done something else, and I thought they were going to, honestly. But listen, Mia Yim is amazing, and so I think it's kind of cool if she's actually doing an extended run. I want those runs to be things where they're not on the other show. Like, they did that for a while. Like they just did one with Baron Corbin where he showed up. He was in NXT. He was not on the other shows, and then he got drafted. He had to get drafted back up. So, apparently he's in a King of the Ring qualifier on Friday. Like, they're actually using him on the main roster so far. So that's good. Yeah, I don't know. I think that Michin could teach a lot of women a lot of stuff. He'd be a really good dance partner for an intermediate, intermediary title feud with Roxanne. Like, she'd be a great dance partner for her. I don't know how to do that. Maybe that is something that happens. Near Battleground or whatever, and then if we're gonna do Julia versus Roxanne, that's the thing that happens at Heatwave. Like, you could do some fun stuff with Mia Yim while she's down there. But yeah, this was fine. Yeah.
Mia Yim is one of the most logical counter wrestlers, I think, male or female, in the world. She has some really creative ones too, but she's one of the most underrated, I think, wrestlers in general, but particularly with like ring IQ stuff. There's always something that stands out that I'm like, of course you would do that in that situation. And that's another person that if you're going to bring them down to NXT would be a helpful developmental aspect. I am kind of like, you're supposed to be helping these young wrestlers, right? But like, you have to win because you're the main roster talent, but you're also supposed to be helping these people look good, so they have to look good in losses every time, which is just tough from a creative standpoint of how do you shine a spotlight on someone who's always losing, I guess. But like, the idea of, okay, if Chelsea Green is around helping out with character stuff and Michin is around a little bit helping out with just like the smartest in-ring moves that you could possibly make, that's really fun. Like, that's a really fun thing. Great match. Like, happy to see her here. It made sense, and I'm glad she won too, because you don't want to establish someone at NXT and be like, they immediately lost. Like, that sucks. So some good stuff there, and it's very nice too, because she in a wacky and wild world, she's just kind of like herself in a more grounded presence. So just even from a character perspective, just like the chillness of who she is a welcome and refreshing change.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to turn this over to you because I can't be objective about this in any way. It's just gonna. I will froth with rage at this next segment, the Supernova Sessions with Trick Williams. So I need you to describe it, say the things that happened. I will give my reaction to it after you are done saying things about it.
Well, Noam Dar's here and he looks great. So we can start on a happy note because he's got like his Burberry short things on. His hair always looks phenomenal. I love that he chooses to use the headpiece microphone. It just gives this youth pastor thing that I appreciate. But we're here to find out what's in the envelope. And as Corey said, this was labeled Thriller and Manila because there's a Manila envelope. And we get Lash Legend holding it over her stomach. And last week it felt very much like it was going to be an ultrasound. There were all these insinuations that she and Trick are dating. Kind of feels like there might be a spot opening in the metaphor. Hello, I'm right here. And the net of this is what's in the envelope, which, as you pointed out, was addressed to them. Meaning it was like sent their way. I guess they had to go to like, is it Snapfish or whatever, one of those services? Because like, CVS by them doesn't have a printout thing. It was just a picture of Noam Dar's shoulders not being to the mat on the finish of his match with Trick Williams. And they did it in a big reveal on the Supernova Sessions in a printed photo rather than just putting it up on the Titantron. And that was disappointing. And then way Lash and Trick make more flirtatious candy jokes about Willy Wonka and stuff to, I guess, for the creative consistency of the peanut butter cup jokes last week. And it feels like Lash Legend is going to go off with Trick and probably be like a duo. And I actually don't hate the idea of them as a duo. But then Noam Dar attacks him and lays him out. And that part actually looked really awesome. He did a good job with that. But this was, when you think of like, oh, sick, world title defense for Trick Williams. Like this segment to get there, and I don't mean to be harsh, is the worst thing that's ever happened on any television in the history of the universe. And downright silly. So, Alex, take it away.
You showed up last week with a manila envelope with an address. It was addressed to you. Somebody mailed it to you. So what they mailed to you was a 8x10 of a screenshot of an episode of NXT from March 16th. So you waited until now to get is the person who mailed it to you the person who like was watching old episodes of NXT from 2 months ago and was like, hey, I think your leg was under the ropes. I'm gonna figure out who I can mail evidence of this to. Or I don't know, why is it mailed to you? And like, if it was mailed to you, did you have to send away for it? Like none of the people in the metaphor have access to a printer or can go into a Walgreens and get some shit printed out for yourself. So the big reveal in the Thrilla in Manila was a picture of a match from 2 goddamn months ago that proves, like, there are a lot of times I had to break it to you. A lot of times people's legs are under ropes and nobody actually gives a shit. Like, you're bringing it up now. This is the reason why we're doing this match. And so then Trick Williams, like, you call me Trick Willy Wonka, and I like, is that another chocolate reference? Is it that does she like to eat your chocolate? Is that what you're saying? That's weird. So they're together in real life. So you want to see how it works when you put them together. Listen, the thing is that Trick Williams didn't need to be altered. He's one of the most over guys you have across WWE. You just made him NXT champion. His act has not gotten stale yet. Before you even put him in a real title feud, you use that to pair him with somebody who you're splitting off from another act that is working really well as a foursome. So you're going to ruin that act while, I don't know, maybe making Trick better, but we don't know because we already know that he works by himself. So adding something else to that has the potential to make that already worse. They are Tiffany Strattoning Trick Williams' title reign already. This is what, like, if Dijak doesn't have a major fucking thing to do on Raw between now and July, they never should have fucking drafted him. He's got to have, not just like he has matches here and there, but like an actual role to play, a program to be in, something he is doing that means something. Because if he was still there, we heard from Corey that the plan had been at one point to do a fairly lengthy Dijak versus Trick. That would have been amazing. It would have made Trick look really great because Dijak puts out a lot of punishing stuff. And if Dijak loses to Trick, it makes Trick look better. Now we see Trick distracted by Lash Legend, so much so that Noam Dar, a dude who is 160 goddamn pounds, hits him with an elbow when he's not looking and he's knocked out. This is not the way you do this in any way, shape, or form. It's just not.
I also will say that Trick Williams is one of the coolest people I've ever seen in my life. And if he can't make Willy Wonka sound cool, there's no hope for anybody making that sound cool. So don't So don't try. But if this all ends up with me being in the metaphor, Alex, I'm not mad about it. I'm sorry.
Okay,
it was a terrible segment, but if there's an opening and I apply and I go.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, this does not end with you actually in the metaphor.
Well, then it's not great.
Then it's not great.
But if it does, I'm gonna be in the metaphor.
I do think there's a potential for Noam Dar and Trick Williams to have really good matches.
Yes, for sure.
But
like,
this is not the way you get there.
Yeah, it's
this
bad.
is not the way you get there.
I will say, I thought the elbow looked great, and I thought the sell on the elbow was really great. But overall, Alex, you know what I would say about this segment?
What's that?
Is that it did not have me standing on end at all. It was just, it fell very flat. It was pretty flaccid as far as things go. I was not excited. It was not an excitable thing. And nobody was erect about it. So,
is your sex life stuck in developmental? Well, get ready for a call up with BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but how about this? No awkward in-person visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's shipped straight to your door in a discreet package. But let me tell you, your package is not going to be discreet when you use Blue Chew, and the code FIGHTFUL helps give you that confidence, that performance to take you straight to the main event, if you know what I'm saying. When approved online by one of our physicians, it just arrives straight to your door. You're not going to have people nosing around with what you're doing. And right now, you get your first shipment free when you use the code FIGHTFUL. Go straight to the top. You know what I mean. Memorable performance, high spot, whatever other innuendos you can think of. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
So I was a freight train about that one. I was.
Javon Evans, who we haven't seen for a while, which is inexcusable, wants to talk to Noam Dar in the parking lot. Don't do things in the parking lot, Javon Evans. You're fine. You're fairly new here. Don't do things in the parking lot. But he's supposed to talk. I don't like the way you disrespected my boy Trick Willie. Oh, by the way, Lash Legends is not with a metaphor at this point in the show, and they would get very mad when they ask why she isn't there. So it feels like they've already done the split. So now it's the meta 3, which doesn't make any sense. Again, until you are added to it. And Noam's like, this is not the time to talk to us about any of that stuff. And so then a match is made, Javon Evans versus Noam Dar next week, which has the potential, if you let them actually do a real match, to be amazing. Guess what it's not going to be?
It's going to be 5 minutes and not 12.
6 minutes, maybe 8. Here's the thing. Maybe it will be 12. And it'll be amazing. And then they'll do some dumbass finish. So that's
Trick is going to cost or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it is what it is.
I am very excited to see Javon Evans in action again, though. That makes me very happy.
Sure. Yeah. He should be facing Ora Mensa first, so he gets a victory before he loses to Noam Dar.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? We got time. Battleground's not until next month. We got time.
Yeah, we're not battling on the ground until next month.
Luis says 2 ad breaks at minimum. Anything else is bullshit. Let me tell you, 2 ad breaks is pushing it. The over-under on ad breaks is 0.5, and I got the under. Natalia is giving advice to Carmen to be more assertive.
She lives out every woman's dream, though, so it's cool.
This guy shows up, and this guy is sexy BJ Ray from the Roku TV series, where they have all these kids who are trying out for NXT, and he is the obnoxious one in the real world. Like they found a guy to be the obnoxious one in the real world version of this thing.
Okay.
And apparently, because he's so obnoxious, he's a TV star now on that thing.
Works for
and
the
so
Miz.
they had him be like, "Hey, you're a smoke show," and she kicked him in the face.
Yeah, she did.
And Natalia's like, "Good job." And that was it. There you go.
She said she needed to find her edge. And whenever anyone says you need to find your edge, which is said a lot in NXT, I always think of Derek Jeter and those Ford Edge commercials.
Yeah.
So that's just where my mind goes because I have ADD. But finding your edge is the same as finding your darkness within. Like when we talk about repeated playbooks, this is one of them. It is nice that there are people that interact with people backstage because there was a long time that wasn't the case if you weren't all standing together. Like as people are walking, other people are walking. Someone was like, hey, sick underground match last week. Cool. Like that's always refreshing. But if there was a dude who was being weird to me, I would love to be able to kick them like that. Again, that probably doesn't warrant a sword though. But like if I had a sword, I would just be like, say it again.
But she wasn't carrying the sword though. I don't know who picked up her sword.
Why
And brought
would
it
you
back
not be carrying a sword all the time?
You should have you have your sword at all times.
Yeah, I'm gonna say so.
Apparently,
especially she's gonna be safe in the parking lot.
On Instagram, NXT has revealed that Tony D and the family put the referee in an industrial freezer without it. They took his actual shirt. That was what Stax was wearing. They locked him in a freezer. They didn't kill him. They locked him in a freezer.
See, here's the problem: is we come on the show and we're like, "That's cheesy. That's lame." Blah blah blah. But this is by definition cheesy, and it is the best thing in the world. So
yeah,
take it.
That's great. That's honestly brilliant. They gotta play that next week's episode. Next week's episode, they gotta play that.
They better.
Okay, so let's do this next little thing that's gonna. Well, okay, we're here. Jeremy, apparently, Sexy Red. I don't know who that is. I don't want to know who it is. Don't tell me who it is. I don't care who it is. Sexy Red apparently watched NXT and was interested in this whole metaphor thing. So I don't know. Also, HBK wants Drake and Kendrick to patch things up on NXT, and he even offered to mediate. And never has a man been older and whiter. Methuselah was not an older, whiter man. Hey, I hear you kids have a problem. Why did you come on my show and I'll fix it for you?
Is there going to be an issue here, sir? Oh.
I don't know. So there was that. Okay.
Kendrick Lamar did use the phrase "sweet chin music," so I get why he commented on it. But to be you guys want to shake hands, play Jenga about it? Like,
yes, I understand that he made a reference to you. You don't get to I was mentioned. I am a part of this conversation now.
Well, not like that. Like, there's ways to interject, and you should get wrestling into pop culture as much as you can. I think, but would you like to come on my show and settle your differences? Ain't it?
Okay, so let's put all this stuff together. Backstage, Thea Hale is taking advice from Ridge Holland, a man who, depending on who you ask, has uncontrollable rage issues. And he's like, Ridge is so nice to me. He's talking to me about stuff he's like, yeah, I got a daughter myself, and you remind me of her. Your daughter is 4. You're 35 years old with a 4-year-old daughter. A 20-year-old woman should not remind you of your daughter unless you are infantilizing her.
Wait, but this is about Thea Hale.
Right.
She's kind of a giant toddler.
But there's no way that Thea Hale should remind you of a 4-year-old. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to say. It's a weird thing to say to a grown woman when your daughter is not 14 but 4. She might even be younger than that. We saw a thing where he's like, good night, sweetheart. I'm FaceTiming you before my big match. I'm going to go and lose. I just wanted to say good night, sweetheart. I'll see you tomorrow.
But A, does he only have one daughter? And B, I have a little bit less of a problem with this than I normally would because Thea Hale, she acts like a toddler. A lot
Okay,
of time.
fine. You can
I'm
not
just saying.
you cannot have a problem with this one reference, but you have to have a problem with the reference later.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so during this scene, Lexis King walks up. All the Chase U people are coming here. And then Lexis King walks up and says mean things about Ridge Holland and everybody. And then Duke Hudson steps up and is like, I've got this. And he just very quietly and matter-of-factly says that you're an egomaniac and nobody wants you around. You're an egotistical and frankly very annoying person and nobody likes you. And I was like, this is good. This is very, very good. I like this a lot. Okay, so she's 6. Okay, fine. She's 6.
She's kind of a 6-year-old. Like,
no, I do not accept this.
You don't have to.
You cannot argue me into accepting this. This was gross. So then, because of who you've established Ridge is, he may fly off the handle and murder somebody because he's got serious rage issues and mental problems. That is the character you've created for him. So anything he says is just all of a sudden you got to take with not a grain of salt, but one of those big Morton's salts things that you just shake in and it's got its poor spout. That's how much salt you got to take with everything that Ridge Holland says. So then we get a fantastic admitted call from Vic Joseph. Duke King next, which honestly, that just sounds like
my favorite Green Day album was Duke King.
Like the cliff notes of the cliff notes of the cliff notes of Richard III. Duke King next, and so that's.
First of all, layers, brilliant. Second of all, I like that it wasn't Hudson King next. Like,
no,
we know his.
He could have said Duke Lexis. And he could have said Hudson King, but he says Duke King next.
Yeah, I loved it. Felt very much like he was referencing the album Dookie, which is great.
Yeah. So they have a match. Ridge Holland at one point decides to far into the match, right before the end, if you will. Like, it's not like he was out there from the beginning with Chase U. Nothing precludes this that makes it happen. He just decides 6 minutes into the match to walk down the ramp with a chair and chase Lexis King. See what I mean? He has rage issues and mental problems because there's no reason to do what he's doing right now. And then he chases him into the ring. The ref has to grab the chair that he is carrying, usher Ridge out, take the chair, throw it away. Duke Hudson, who's usually a smart guy, is dumb, turns around and then back around and immediately takes Lexis King finisher, and Duke Hudson loses to Lexis King, which of course is your waking nightmare.
It's my personal hell, yes. I didn't realize being chair obsessed was contagious, but it is from Sean Spears. Right. And there are very few things that make me not want to see a Duke Hudson singles match. Losing to Lexis King is probably one of them. Because what is Lexis King?
Right. Yeah.
What are you? What?
Right.
Who? I'll say this. A lot of NXT characters, a little much for me. I know who they are for the most part.
Right.
There's contradictory things in there, but you put the volume on 11 when you tell me who these people are. Yeah. I don't know who Lexis King is other than sometimes kind of a scumbag to girls with bad facial hair. I have no idea what his motivations in the ring are. He had these cool vignettes. He seemed like he was turning into his father. They completely abandoned it, and now he's just a guy who's kind of a sleaze. Who is this guy? And why is he beating my precious Duke Hudson on television? That is so unfair to me, who has a birthday next week and has been very good this year and worked her ass off last week, mind you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I deserve Duke Hudson on my screen, if not, God forbid, winning, not losing to Lexis King. Okay?
No.
Duck Hudson, the GOAT, would say this is all a quack.
Yeah. Jambeard is saying, next, Duke King. Next King, Duke. Duke, next King. There you go. That's a lot of the Shakespeare plays. So Ridge inadvertently cost Duke Hudson the match, right? So backstage, Chase U's angry about stuff because they're upset, and then in walks Ridge Holland's like, "Oh, Duke, I just want to apologize. I tell you, I'm sorry. I let my mind get away from me, and I did that, and I cost you the match, and I'm really sorry." And Duke's like, "It's okay, Ridge. Nobody blames you for it. It's fine." Well, it's just that every time I look at Thea Hale, I see my little girl, and I just can't control myself. I mean,
That one caught my ear. Yeah.
what? Every time I look at Thea Hale, a 20-year-old woman, I see my 6-year-old daughter, is a weird thing to say for anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
and then I just can't control myself. I know what it was in reference to, but you gotta look at what you're saying in those things, because that is essentially what he said. Like, it's that made me uncomfortable. The first one didn't as much because it felt referential to me, and I understand your interpretation of it. But to me, it felt referential to the fact that she's like always throwing a temper tantrum or always out of her mind excited. Like, that to me feels like you remind me of my daughter when we go to get ice cream and she's freaking out and so excited. Like, that's how you act, right? But this was weird. This made me uncomfortable. Every time I look at you, you remind me of my daughter. Is that one? Because it didn't feel paternal, because you're right. He's psychotic, right? So
right.
Like,
it doesn't feel paternal because, like, I mean, maybe he does have a much older daughter, and that's the one he's talking about. But the one that we've seen on NXT is 6, but appeared even younger in the face.
Well, and he probably didn't have a kid at like 11, right?
I mean, he's 30. He's 35 years old. Like, it's very, very odd.
Yeah, that was weird.
So yeah. Anyway, but Riley Osborne's like, yeah, Ridge, it's fine, but like, we don't. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, you've got all these. We've seen, if we know who you really are, Ridge. This is weird. And it was like, no, Riley Osborne. Why? We all trust him. We all think he's really nice. Why you, Riley Osborne, think this is bad? It's like, I don't know. I just think, oh well, whatever I have to do to prove myself to you, that's what I'll do. Don't worry about it. I'll do it. It's fine. I'm Ridge Holland, and I the storyline is that I can't control my rage, and I might murder somebody in the ring one of these days. But I'm sure that if I just picture my daughter's face on Thea Hale's body, that everything will be fine. Like, basically, there's like 2 steps between what he is actually saying and that. And it's just weird, and it's a bad. Everything they have done with Ridge since he's been in NXT has been really weird. It's just very, very weird.
Like, the storytelling really got lost too, because I didn't love the story, but I got what they were doing, right? And I'm a big believer, and I talk about it ad nauseum on here, so sorry, but like, the difference between taste and is this objectively sound wrestling creative, right? I didn't like what they were doing with the injury stuff, but it made sense. And then somewhere along the way, they lost the plot as to whether it was heel or face. The Shawn Spears stuff has been in and out. Like, is he controlled by Shawn Spears? Is he not? This turn with Chase U was very, very weird. So I don't know. And I was starting to like come a little bit more alive a couple weeks ago with that cool spot on the outside and that really good match that he had. Like, but then they got lost. They got lost with it. And then this week was just weird.
Yeah. So I guess we'll figure out what he's going to do to prove himself to Chase U. So we found out what happened to JC Jane because she was all bloodied up at the end of the match last week, but I didn't see it happen. And we also found out why she wasn't involved in anything this week is because she got a broken nose, fully inadvertent, when Thea Hale like really hard, like kicked out like crazy, and ends up her arm just goes across her nose and breaks it in the match.
Just wrestling.
But Jasmine Nix, who has lots of consonants and sometimes Y is a vowel in her name. There's an ampersand in there. She cuts a promo that Thea did this on purpose and she must be suspended or something. I can't believe she wasn't suspended. I'll take it. I'll take revenge on her or whatever. So we're getting. That's what I thought that when Fallon turned heel by attacking Thea Hale, we were going to get the match that was going to be the feud. It looks like Fallon is feuding with Kelani Jordan right now, and like Thea just is confused about the Fallon Henley stuff, but not actually doing anything about it.
Yeah, at least for now. I'm sure somebody will cost somebody at some point.
Yeah. Anyway. So this combine, which shown throughout the night, a lot of different ways, a lot of Ava Rain taking notes about people jumping far.
Just Ava.
Whatever.
We leave the rain behind in the cold days.
I'll call it whatever I want.
No!
I'm going to call it whatever I want. Ava Rock. We're going to call her Ava Rock. So there you go. Ava Rock is just sitting there making notes on a clipboard about people jumping high and far and also running fast.
Yeah.
And they show us like there's whatever. Some people are fast. Some people are strong. Some people are both. And then after all this stuff that they show us doing things, they name certain people as being good at certain events. But then they show us. Hold on, I uploaded it because I'm me. So here we go. They show us the results of the women's combine. For those of you just listening, I will describe it. Top 12 results. They have a ranking in order from 1 to 12. And then an overall score on the right, which means nothing. They did not tell us they were scoring anything. There's no way for them to prove to us that this is the actual score that anybody got. They just put a score up there and ranked them according to the score from 1 to 12. And
it's like video games.
The ranking from 12 to 1, I'm going to do it this way. Ren Sinclair, barely skating in. Former Maddie Rankowski with an 86. Tatum Paxley, number 11 with an 88. Kelani Jordan, number 10 with an 89. Number 9, Izzy Dame, who we haven't seen since Kiana got called up. Didn't know what they were going to do with her, but she is now in this little qualifying deal. She got an 89. She got a 90. Number 8, Ivy Nile. We're going to get back to her in a second. Number 7, that's it. She also has a 90. Also with a 90, Lash Legend at number 7. Number 6, Fallon Henley. She also has a 90. So we have technically a 4-way tie for 6. We also have a 3-way tie for 3rd. We have Jada Parker, Brindley Reese, and Michin all with 91. Then we have Thea Hale at 93. And Sol Ruka, number 1, with a 95. Again, there is no way to verify that these numbers are accurate or even, and this is important, what in the fuck they mean. Are they weighted? Is it if you jump high, do you get is it a 9 out of 10? Is it 10 out of 10? There aren't 10 events, so it can't be 10 out of 10 because how they did not explain any of this. I fully expected Sol Ruka to be near the top, but I don't understand why you're showing me this because I have no context for what any of it means.
There's no way Lash Legend is not top 3 unless for starters. Also, there's an episode of The Office where Michael's trying to test people to find out who should replace him when he thinks he's getting a job at corporate. And Pam goes, at one point you gave someone a gold star. At one point you gave someone... That's what this feels like. Mm-hmm. Do they add up to 100? Was there an average taken? How is it that there is a 4-way tie, but those people all have the same number, but have a ranking? There are several questions which make no sense. And the emphasis on what events. This doesn't make sense.
No,
it makes no sense.
It doesn't.
So, and why is Ivy Nile in it?
Ivy Nile, we know Michin was in it because she talked about it. She came out and she did her little thing. They had 3 women come out to talk to Ava Rock about this combine thing. One of them was Jada Parker. One of them was 4. Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, Michin, and Ariana Venti, who did not place. She was one of 4 women talking about how she was going to win the combine and she was going to be in the ladder match. She did not place in the combine, which is I don't know. Like I
think
didn't see
they
her
got
running
really
any of the
thrown
events,
off by
but
the
like
draft.
whatever.
They got
Like,
really
whatever.
thrown off by the draft, huh?
So the thing of it is now you have a you have, show us one more time. You have a 1 through 12. So you have 6 qualifying matches. Would this not stand to reason that the qualifying matches would be Sol Ruca versus Ren Sinclair?
Of course.
That's how tournaments usually work. The seeding works in that way. 1 versus 12. That's not what's happening. Like, it's just not. That's just not what's happening. And I don't understand that they've already announced what the ones are. Did they announce? I don't see it. It's Sol Ruca versus Is it Sol Ruca versus Izzy Dame? I think. And Lash Legend versus Ivy Nile are the first 2 matches next week. So like they're not going according to anything. Like who is Ren Sinclair facing if not Sol Ruca? Sol Ruca being the top overall she's the top seed. She should therefore get to face the bottom seed.
From a face and heel perspective, pretty much the whole way. Why aren't they just doing that?
I don't know. None
it
of this
literally matches up the whole way except kind of for 1. Why would you not just do the same?
They use Steiner maths.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you look at me and you look at Lash Legend and you know.
Yep.
You're not the same.
Right. So
this felt like to me a huge opportunity to make Lash like holy shit. Like this woman has
7th
got it.
Seems crazy.
7th is insane.
But I mean, like the only way you do this, like if you wait like the running or conditioning higher than the strength stuff, because we already know she's the strongest female in the. She's body slammed Otis like it was nothing.
Like no big deal. Yeah.
So like it's weird. I don't understand. So but next week we're getting Ivy Nile, who is just unceremoniously. They say the Pitbull from Raw. Then why is somebody from Raw in this fucking combine?
Well, we think too. It's probably because JC Jane broke her face, right?
But they've got to have a different person who can be in the freaking.
Or at least just like a video package of like show her doing all those insane workouts with Julius Creed and being like, I'm coming back or whatever.
Half of these women are losing a match in the next couple of weeks, and they're not even going to be in the ladder match. So it doesn't matter which woman from Level Up that you put in there, have them finish wherever they are near the bottom, and make it be a human interest story of this woman who's never been on TV before, but she's looking for her first opportunity, and Jada Parker wrecks her in the qualifying match and help to build the top heel who's going to be in the ladder match in that way, as opposed to Ivy Nile, who next week is facing Lash Legend and might lose to Lash Legend because Lash Legend being in the match makes sense, but also Lash Legend probably comes to the ring next week and Jakara Jackson ruins it for her. So that means Ivy Nile, who's from Raw, is one of 6 women who might be the NXT North American champion, the inaugural NXT North American champion. She's not on the fucking NXT roster. Where are we going?
Well, that I don't know. It was a good rant, though.
Sol versus Izzy and Ivy versus Lash. I can't. I just don't get. I just don't get it.
It makes no sense.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
The thesis told me that when your blood pressure spikes, so does their serotonin.
No, that's good. I'm glad.
That was before that rant. So
okay, good. I'm glad. I can do that to people.
That was like before the show even started. So
Roxanne Perez defeated Chelsea Green. This was fun.
This was very fun.
Chelsea can stick around for a while as long as she's not also on SmackDown.
This was really fun. This was good for Roxanne. I feel like Roxanne's settling into the heel character. Like, I don't like the way that they have it presented, but she's doing well with what they're having her do. She's picking up very well on the heel mannerisms and ways to say things, and just little things like at the end of this, the way that she snatched her belt away from the ref and stuff. Like, she's getting it very, very well, which is impressive because I've only ever seen her as a face dating back to the ROH days. So I'm very happy to see, even though I don't like what they're giving her, she's knocking it out of the park, I feel like. So very happy for her on that. And a good match. This was really well done. Chelsea is a fun dance partner. Vic Joseph did a good job of talking about Chelsea being a champion everywhere she's gone, which I felt like kind of alluded to her time outside of WWE, as well as the tag team run. So nice way to build up some credibility because she was coming here to lose, right? And we'll see. Like, I feel like the balance of Chelsea and Michin, who have such different strengths, sticking around could be something that's really fun and good for this young growing roster. But this was a good main event. I'm glad it was the main event. Roxanne's phenomenal. Like, I don't know what to say other than what we say most weeks, which is that she's just incredible in the ring. She is a prodigy. I look forward to what she does on the main roster. I don't know who you build up next for her to have a defense against.
I mean,
like, I know we're getting Julia Heatwave.
Lola Vice is not in this combine thing at all.
She's a heel.
But she's doing something. I'm saying, like, she's doing something else, and it's not Roxanne. So we assume, unless Roxanne's doing some kind of triple threat. But, like, there are people who are going to lose these qualifying matches that you would think they would not lose. And therefore they will be available. Like, I feel like Thea Hale could lose the thing. You know what I mean? Because something. And then Thea Hale feels like somebody they could build into facing Roxanne, something like that.
That's a good
show. Like, it should be Miko Satomura.
Oh, that in a dream world, that's who Roxanne loses to.
But she this time she can't beat Miko Satomura without straight up cheating.
Oh yeah.
To show that like you know what I mean? Because it is the rubber match, because she faced Miko before when she wasn't the champion. She lost.
Thank you.
Then when she was the champion, she successfully defended against Miko Satomura, and they made the dumbest creative decision in the history of the world.
Yes.
And now later, when she's completely changed who she is, she faces Miko Satomura to prove that she really is better than her. And Miko Satomura wants to also, this is not who the girl that I faced 2 years ago. I do not like who you have become. I must beat some sense into you. And then straight up just cheats. The ref bump, and she uses the belt to hit her with it or something. She just straight up cheats to beat Miko Satomura, to cement her as the heel. You know what I mean?
I agree. That would. I don't think we'll get that because it just doesn't seem like Miko's in the plans. But that would be really, really,
Louise
really
says
fun.
it's probably gonna be Maxine. It's probably gonna be Maxine Dupree. It's probably Maxine Dupree. That's who it's gonna be.
Louise, you're fired.
Then we also see backstage because Charlie Dempsey cut a promo saying, "Oh yeah, you want your payment for, because we hired you to kill Drew Gulak for the good of the business. You want your payment for that, or do you want this cup that I'm carrying around very awkwardly? Then yeah, you can have your match." But
I think they should do Heritage Cup versus MVP trophy as the way to get Duke Hudson into the No Quarter Catch Club that you watched the other day.
That'll be nice. He says you won't know who you're going to face, Charlie Dempsey. You won't know who it's going to be. Charlie Dempsey says, and then Tony D kidnaps Damon Kemp and Miles Bourne out of the parking lot and drives away with them. So now he's guaranteed to face Charlie Dempsey next week.
So much clever through line with this. Like, we always love it, and you especially always love it. But this was like extra today. The special guest referee stuff was so good. This ending was a super, super, super blast. I love.
Yeah.
Love what's going on with the family right now.
Yep.
And I'm glad that it seems to be registering with WWE, like that they know they have something here. It makes me happy because they keep putting them in high profile spots.
Okay, let's read some puns, athlete puns.
Let's
Lopongi
go.
Vice says 100-meter dash accurate.
Very nice, and also Lupangi Vice on its own is just. I know it's not an athlete pun, but that gets me every time.
Insert clever
Lupangi.
Tegan Knox pun says vertigan leap, not vertical, but vertigan leap.
Very nice.
This one's it, I think. Sorry, everybody. Henry the Casey says pole vaulter. I like that one a lot.
That's excellent.
So Lieutenant Colonel Photo says jockstrap match.
Very nice.
Doc House and Chris Mueller says 100-yard dash Wilder or 100-yard Cash Wheeler. 100-yard dash Wilder. We can
Wilder.
use old names if it makes the pun better.
Why walk calmly when you can dash Wilder is what I always used to say.
There you go. Chris Pereira says Teddy long jump.
Very good.
Player.
A tag team long jump.
Dockhausen, Chris Mueller says pack and field.
Like
Pack
Pac?
and field?
Yeah,
Pac
I like
and
that a
field?
lot.
And baseballs Mahoney. Chris Pereira says Samoan track spikes.
Very nice.
Mr. Bandana Head says Alexa Blitz.
That's really good.
Ian R says track team 2000. Ian R says strategy G Dolan. Chris Pereira says steeplechase U.
That's really good.
Ian R says quarterback Sack Saber Jr.
Dickhead.
Lieutenant Colonel Photo says relay race. Ripley.
Very nice.
Chris Pereira says pentathlon El Cerro Miedo.
Chris Pereira is unbelievable with
That's
these.
very good. Ian R says Greco-Roman reigns. Chris Pereira says it's the starting Gunther. Ricardo says
Starting
Alex
Gunther.
Hammer toss.
Very nice.
Ian Riccaboni says LeBron Brickicker.
Very good.
Normus says Blackpool Calisthenics Club.
Very nice.
And Track Meet Madness. Louisville says rugby, Soho. Luis Polito says training drills a Maloney.
Louis, stop paying. Just add it to
Lieutenant
the
Colonel
document.
Photo says when decathlon Richter.
Wow.
Ian Riccaboni says
Very good.
Taekwondo Buffemi. Ian Riccaboni says equestrian Riccaboni.
That one's special because
Lieutenant
it's
Colonel
got you.
Photo says tread $1 million man.
That's wonderful.
Louisville says Don Calisthenics. Meet Normus says time trial Tony Storm. And Willow Night Game.
Very nice.
Electric Mayhem says Wiffle Brooks. Wiffle ball. Wiffle ball.
Oh,
Wiffle books. Power slam ball. Rugby Starks.
Rugby Starks.
Ian R says synchronized Lola Vice skating.
Very nice.
Ian R says Lance Archery. Everybody bull's eyes. Genetic Mayhem says badminton. Badminton.
Badminton. Yeah.
Bad dude Tito. Badminton Tito. Angelo Parkour and Gymnasty Boys.
Gymnastic voice is really good.
I'm picturing Brian Knobs doing the pole, the pommel horse or whatever. Very funny. Ricardo says badminton Tito. Everybody did that again.
So, I love it. Good for Bad Dude Tito. He might stand Creed way too much, but he's the best. I love Tito.
Ricardo says Zach Cabertoss Jr.
Very nice.
Ian Riccaboni says, "Bam, bam, big arrow." TMDK stands for Team Mixed Doubles Kayaking.
Shane can pull off videos of that.
T Electric Mayhem says, "Bad luge, Tito."
Tito with 3 puns today.
And the American Dragon boat racing.
I feel like boat racing is an Italian thing.
An Italian thing.
But yeah.
Jesse Ozog, we just got this Lance Archery, but thank you, very good.
But yeah, it's a good one.
Okay, and then I think that's all. Oh, ENR says the Dust of Ghosty Roads race.
One of our characters is so getting puns.
Yes.
Bit on bit on bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Let's go.
Ian R says it's skiing.
Which makes sense because he had the snow in his entrance.
Yeah. Jambeard says apparently in botany, vegetables don't exist because they are separated as leaves, stalks, tubers, flowers. So like the vegetables, like it's not, you got to like separate it. So not, you can't, there's such a thing as a vegetable. It has to be one of a category of vegetables. I have heard that as well, but it's been a long time.
But isn't the umbrella a vegetable?
I mean, like, yeah, but you have to be more specific because the botanists know what they're talking about.
Well, I don't.
Okay.
Why would you assume I know what I'm talking about?
Neither of us know what we're talking about.
What part of this show gives you the thought that I know what I'm talking about? I'm not credible. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Lord Kev says, like sands through the hourglass, these are the sours of our graps. Corey and Sean have a lover's spat, and the Linder reveals the paternity results.
Dun, dun, dun.
No
manila envelope here.
No, these two are for Sean. Jambeard says, "You and your fam have been in my thoughts, Sean. It's never easy to deal with family loss." And Ian Riccaboni says, "A serious welcome back to SRH. Much love to you and your fam."
I'll make sure he sees those if you leave the names in there, Luis. Thank you very much on his behalf.
Oh my god, we got all these jukeboxes, and they're like Joe Hendry stuff.
Say his name and he appears.
I mean, I don't want to. I don't watch TNA, so I have no context for any of this. So I won't. It'll just be me going through the motions. I don't even know what the context is. So Jambeard says Darby sings Joe Hendry Spice Girls parody song. I had to pick Darby for this one because if you know, you know.
I actually don't know them. I know some Joe Hendry stuff, but not all of them.
Okay. I don't. Okay. What? Okay. All right. Playing games with Tommy and Malachi Black because he's sound, but not with Dante. He's not allowed. I don't like my brothers. They understand. Don't get me angry or I will punch this fan. If you want to be me, brother, you got to be with my friends, worshiping the devil, impressing Tommy End. If you want to be me, brother, you got to get with my friends, worshiping the devil, impressing Tommy End. What do you think about that? Let me know how you feel. Think about handle me, love. Are you for real? If you want to be me, brother, you got to get with my friends, worshiping the devil, impressing Tommy End. Tommy End's new name is Malachi Black.
Very well done.
And those. Okay, Jambeard says Regal sings Venga Boys parody by Joe Henry. Okay. All right. When you're alone and you hear a noise, you check next door to check out the problem. You notify the authorities there's an intruder tonight. Whoa! I see double me and you. Whoa! Let's have some fun. Whoa! Who is in my living room? Whoa! This is awful. People like this. This is terrible. Boom, boom, boom. Jack Jester is in my room. I'm calling the policeman, but they're taking forever. Boom, boom, boom. Jack Jester is in my room. I'm calling the policeman. I hope they get here soon. This is the man who has all of these hits.
He does. His Creed one was amazing. Also, the Edge's bitch one on Cardona.
Cam Watson wants Ilya doing Twilight of the Thunder God. I don't know this one. Let's see if I do this. Okay, Ilya. Hold on. There comes Fenris twin. His jaws are opened wide. The serpent rises from the waves. Jormungandr twists and turns, mighty in his wrath. The eyes are full of primal hate. Thor, Odin's son, protector of mankind, bid to make your fate, your destiny awaits. Thor, Odin's son, protector of mankind, ride to meet your fate. Ragnarok, it waits. I sip from the chalice of suffering.
Okay. That was the Sour Grapes title yesterday.
Well, he did it. Okay. Okay. Now it's just all we have left is Ricky Rainbows and the Ghosty Roads.
Hell yeah! I love that I have nothing tonight. That was not an invitation. We are way over on time, but it's Sean.
We're over on time. Hello, Ricky Rainbow sings "I Believe in Joe Hendry." Right. I was mistaken. I thought this man had two first names, but there's a D in there. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry because they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland and Canada and Mexico. They say, I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious. Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is the prestigious one. All right. That was it. Fine. So Ricky Rainbow sings Shake the Axe for Me by Joe Hendry. Oh, I lost it. You wait a minute. You deleted that. Please bring it back. I didn't click on it. Thank you. Thank you.
That was a beautiful song in itself.
Okay. Here we are. I'm an X-Man. Yeah, I'm an X-Man. He made his name on NXT, but now we know him for chopping trees. So when he lost his sanity, he has a title for Joe Hendry. Because he's an X. Yeah, he's an X-Man. Yeah, he's an X-Man. He's an X-Man. Shaking the X on the store, up from the B&Q store. He left a hole in my door. He's ruining my whole decor. You better win because you were in NXT instead of chopping double trees. Look at me. Iceman looking all his sanity because he's face-to-face with Joe Hendry. Don't get mad at me because you're hugging a tree and now you're about to lose the bout to Joe Hendry. Come on, girl. Shake that axe for me. Oh, shake that axe for me. Right. Okay. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
All right. Well, someone else has to come in and do things now.
Oh my gosh! Hi, Dusty.
Hello, it's me. I'm here. I'm here to do my weekly appearance on your show.
We appreciate it. We appreciate you being here so much. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm gonna sing 3 songs now. Honestly, I'm not doing 3 songs. I'm doing 2 songs and some kind of speech. So
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, hold on. What the Duster Goat? That's different. The Ghost of Dusty sings BBL Drizzy by King Melonius. I'm not familiar with BBL Drizzy or King Melonius,
really?
But here we go.
Seems right up your alley, if I were to guess, Dusty.
Honestly, I don't get around too much. It's I listen to the standards.
Jimmy Buffett mostly,
original, sounds like that. Hold on. BBL Drizzy. Ooh, I'm going in. No diddy. I'm going in. No diddy. I'm thicky thick. So thicky. I'm going Drizzy. Hey, I'm going Drizzy. Ooh, hoo, hoo. BBL Drizzy. There's a lot. I'm thicker than a snicker. I'm thicker than your ninja. Don't act like you don't know me. These yams deserve a trophy, baby. It ain't no mystery. Got the best BBL in history. This cake will make you show up. I know you see this glow up. That's BBL Drizzy, BBL Drizzy. I'm going in, no diddy. Daddy. I'm going in, no diddy, daddy. I'm going in, no diddy, if you will. No diddy, daddy. Thank you. So, now hold on. Teledra Mayhem says, jukebox for the Ghost of Dusty to sing Blue Moon by the Marshalls. The doo-wop version. I remember this song, Blue Moon by the Marshalls. That's right. Hold on. Let's see if I can sing this whole thing. Hold on. Over here. Okay.
I see you, baby girl.
Bomb ba da bomb ba bomb 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 ba da bomb ba da bomb ba bang a dang dang a ding a dong ding blue 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 dip 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 blue 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 moon. You saw me standing alone without a dream in my heart, baby, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really could care for. And then there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms will ever hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me. And when I looked, the moon had turned to gold, baby. Oh, blue moon, now I'm no longer alone without a dream in my heart. Without a love of my own. But a bomb, but a bomb, but bomb, but bomb, bomb, but a dong, but a dong, but dang, a dang, dang, a ding, a dong, dang, blue moon, baby. Daddy.
That's beautiful.
And then meeting Norma's request that Dusty, that's me, do the Allen Iverson practice rant. Toodles. Here we go. Hold on. There's a lot of questions in here that it's hard to do the whole rant because hold on. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Well, now wait. Okay, if a coach says I mixed practice and y'all hear it, then that's that. I might have missed one practice this year, but if somebody says he doesn't come to practice, it could be one practice out of all the practices this year. That's enough. I told Coach Brown that you don't have to give the people of Philadelphia a reason to think about trading me or anything like that. If you trade somebody, you trade them to make the team better, daddy. So simple as that. I'm cool with that. I'm all about that. The people in Philadelphia deserve to have a winner. It's simple as that. It goes further than that. If I can't practice, I can't practice. If I'm hurt, I'm hurt, daddy. It's simple as that. It's not about that at all, baby. But it's easy to talk about and sum it up when we talk about practice. We're sitting here, and I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're here talking about practice. I mean, listen. We're talking about a practice, not a game. Not a game, daddy. We're talking not a game, baby daddy. We're talking about practice, if you will. Not a game, not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last, baby daddy. We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that? We're talking about practice. I know I'm supposed to be there. I know I'm supposed to lead by example, baby daddy. I know that, and I'm not shoving it aside like it don't mean anything. I know it's important. I do. I honestly do. But we're talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. If you will, baby daddy, I'm being called back to the great beyond.
Okay, bye.
All right, what?
Alex, there are people in this world that think we're not credible. And if you watch that, my God. The visual of Allen Iverson saying, if you will, now is burned into my mind forever. That was amazing.
All right. Cool. Well, good. I'm glad. We will see you all here next week for
Yes,
stuff.
we will. And Corey and Sean are going to behave themselves next week.
They're better. They better do that.
They better. Or they're in trouble.
Keep cool, gabagools.
Yeah, toodles. Duh.